Hello everyone, welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to have a look at the Fractal Design Define R3 case. To give you a little tour about this video review first, because it might be a bit of a longer one. First I'm going to give you a detailed look at the case. It's going to be detailed. Nearer to the end I'm going to show you my system that I've built in the case by then. And at the end I'll give you my overall conclusion. Now this case is available in 4 different colors, being titanium grey, black pearl, silver arrow and arctic white. The arctic white version is $10 or euros more expensive than the other versions. It is made out of steel and a few plastic parts. This case does weigh a bit heavy for a mid-sized tower case, but that is mainly because of the noise dampening material that is used everywhere throughout the case. Alright, then let's have a detailed look at this case by starting off with the front panel, which has a very stylish look to it. As you can see, it's like they polished it just enough so that you can see a reflection of yourself in it. That is pretty cool. When we open the door, which is held in place by a magnet and is also actually pretty fingerprint resistant, we find noise dampening material on the back of it. You'll see that we can find 2 5¼ inch drive bay covers, which can be taken out really easy, like so. And they can also be put back in fairly easy, just like this, and the other one like that. Then behind these 2 doors we can find room for up to 2 120mm fans, of which they already include one, the other one is optional. They also install dust filters, which can be removed by screwing out these screws. When you've done that, you can take out the fan or fans and clean your dust filters in water. After doing that, it's an easy job to install the fan back in and put everything else back in place. And on both sides, on the front panel, there are vents for the front intake fans to intake cool air. Now moving on with the front panel, on top we can find the power button, audio and microphone jack, 2 USB 2 ports, an external serial ATA port, the I/O-shaped blue power LED, and here we can find the reset button. On the left side panel you can install an optional 120 or 140mm fan. As you can see, they cover the open spot with their ModuVent system that allows you to choose between optimal silence and or optimal airflow in case you install a fan there. They've also put noise absorbing material on the other side of this side panel. All the exact same things can be said about the top panel, only there you can install up to 2 optional 120 or 140mm fans. On the right side panel there isn't much going on, but they've also put noise absorbing material on the other side of it. On the back of the case there is the opening for the motherboard's I/O shield, the 120mm fan that they include, but you can also install a 92 or 80mm fan if you really want to. These are holes for water cooling tubes to go through. You can also find a few more here. These are the 7 expansion slots, and there is the spot where you install your standard ATX power supply. On the bottom of the case we can find 4 very cool HTPC style feet with rubber on them, so you won't scratch the surface. This is a dust filter for your power supply's intake fan. It's also washable, but not always that easy to put back in if your case is standing up though. And these are the ventilation holes for the optional bottom 120 or 140mm intake fan. After opening the case we can see that Fractal has had the cool idea of painting several things in white instead of having it all black. That is just an example of how much Fractal Design works on the details. In the back of the case you can see the included 120mm fan. You can also see the ModuVent System on top and all the other noise absorbing material. On the bottom of the case they added rubber feet for the power supply to rest on, and even more noise absorbing material on the contact point between the power supply and the case. As I mentioned earlier, you can install a 120 or 140mm intake fan on the bottom of the case, and that can be done in this module. This module also has a dust filter. On the motherboard tray you can install a mini ITX, a micro ATX or a standard ATX form factor motherboard. There are cable management holes around the motherboard tray with rubber grommets, and there is a big opening for your cooler's retention plate of your CPU. You can install up to 8 hard drives in these hard drive cages. The installation of a hard drive isn't that difficult. Just put the hard drive on the hard drive cage, then screw in the 4 screws, which they include, then securely slide back in the hard drive on the hard drive cage. Note that you can install 2.5-inch devices on these hard drive cages and that they have rubber grommets for noise dampening. On top you can install two 5¼ inch devices. They include a 5¼ to 3½ inch drive bay adapter, as well as a 5¼ inch to 3½ inch drive bay cover, so you can install a 3½ inch device. Note that all the cables are black, and that for the fans they have used black sleeving. Jumping to the other side of the case, we can clearly see the cable management holes. There is one here, and the other ones are here. We can also see the other cable management holes on the hard drive gauges. There are many punch outs they include here, and they also include 6 zip ties with this case. Now that I am talking about the included accessories, besides the screws that they include, they also include this fan controller and its cables. Now, this cable will allow you to install up to 3 fans onto your fan controller, and this one provides power. Alright, so I built my PC into the case. Maybe it looks like it only took me 3 seconds or something, but it took me 2.5 hours. But anyway, I don't mind. It was a lot of fun actually. I've put my 3 hard drives right there, as you can see, so there are a few SATA cables in this case. Yeah, I've also installed the fan controller in the back there. For cable management, this case is pretty good. I'll show you when I turn around the case. There is enough space for the CPU cooler. I gotta show you guys this because maybe you might ask, will it touch the ModuVent system, this thing right here, but it doesn't, so that is all measured out correctly. The only issue I had was with the DVD drive actually. When I tried to install it, the cable from the external serial ATA port kind of blocked the way when I tried to slide it in. So I had to push that little cable up and kind of force the DVD writer inside the case. But I didn't damage anything, but it's just something you maybe should know while installing. But other than that, I'll show you guys the other side of the motherboard tray now. Alright, so this is the other side of the motherboard tray. As you can see, I've hidden the SATA cables underneath the bottom hard drive. This is the retention plate of the CPU cooler. I've also routed the 4-pin cable around the back here. I use extension cable because otherwise I wouldn't get to the connector on the motherboard. So if I didn't have the extension cable, I would have actually routed it behind the graphics card, for example. I've used about 8 zip ties and a few velcros to attach these cables to a few holes I found here on the drive cage holder. And I've used the punch outs as well. These are very useful for the 24-pin and 6-pin connectors. So everything regarding cable management is pretty good except for the rubber grommets, which seem to come out really easy. But anyway, let's get to the conclusion. Alright, my overall conclusion on this case is quite positive actually. I really love the styling on this thing. The HTP style feet are really cool. The front panel door is also really stunning. The inside of the case is painted all black, and there are a few white painted things like expansion slot covers and the hard drive cages, which give really good contrast. And also the included screws are all black, and that's also a nice feature. But what is also the best feature of all in my opinion is the noise absorbing material and the ModuVent system. The ModuVent system really keeps a good airflow in your case. It also keeps out dust. And so the ModuVent system is something that I want to see in more cases. Now I would install extra fans in this case if you were to use it for a gamer system, one in the front and one on top, because while testing this I got pretty high temperatures compared to other cases that I've used before with my system. So I would install extra fans. Also the side panels are quite hard to take off and put back on, but you'll get used to it actually. But for a few people, maybe people like me, it is an issue because I like easy side panels. Also the power LED is quite bright, but overall this is an awesome case. Thanks for watching this video review, guys. Be sure to comment, rate and subscribe if you haven't yet. Also thanks to Fractal Design for sponsoring us, and see you guys in the next video.